there. If you're a parent of a child with Prader-Willi syndrome, you already know that food can be, well, a really complex topic. But what if we could flip that script? What if food could actually become your most powerful, most positive tool? Okay, let's dive into just that.
So how do we do that? How can the right food become our greatest ally in managing Prader-Willi syndrome? In this explainer, we're going to break down the science-backed food choices that can really help manage symptoms, promote that feeling of fullness, and honestly empower both you and your child. All right, first things first, let's quickly get on the same page about the core challenge of PWS. Because really, understanding the why behind that relentless hunger is the absolute key to seeing why these food strategies work so incredibly well. So, at its heart, Prader-Willi syndrome is a genetic condition, and its most defining symptom, especially for our topic today, is something called hyperphagia. And let's be clear, this isn't just, I'm feeling a little peckish hunger. No, this is a persistent, relentless, all-consuming drive to eat that can feel totally overwhelming. And here's the real kicker. It's this two-part challenge. On one hand, the body is sending out these incredibly powerful hunger signals 24/7. But on the other hand, it's actually using energy at a much lower rate. This is mostly because of things like reduced muscle mass and effects on the hormonal system. So you've got this situation where the body is screaming for more food, but it's burning calories way more slowly. And that creates a very, very specific nutritional puzzle we need to solve. But, and this is a big but, here's the good news. We can totally meet that challenge head on. And we do it with what I like to call a nutritional toolkit, one that's designed specifically to promote fullness and provide that nice, steady energy. This is where we stop playing defense and start playing offense. We're going to focus on something I'm calling the fullness trifecta. It's super simple, just 3 key steps. Choosing lasting energy carbs, prioritizing powerful proteins, and really filling up with fiber. Let's break down each one piece by piece. Okay, step 1, carbohydrates. But listen, not all carbs are created equal, not by a long shot. We're talking about complex carbs, the good guys. These are the ones that give you slow, sustained energy. So instead of those simple sugars that cause that big spike and then that awful crash, complex carbs release their energy gradually, and that is absolutely essential for managing both hunger and mood. And just look at this list. You can see how accessible these foods are, right? We're talking about total staples like beans, lentils, potatoes, corn, whole grains like brown rice and oats. You can even make homemade pastries using whole wheat flour, and they can fit right into the plan. These are all incredibly filling, nutrient-packed options. All right, tool number 2 in our trifecta is protein. And the research here is crystal clear. High-protein meals are an absolute powerhouse for curbing appetite. They are one of the most effective nutrients out there for promoting what's called satiety. That feeling of being satisfied and full. Plus, protein has this awesome hidden benefit. It's sometimes called diet-induced thermogenesis. I know, super fancy term. But all it really means is that your body has to work harder. It has to burn more calories just to digest protein compared to fats or carbs. It's like giving the metabolism a little natural boost with every single meal. How cool is that? And just like with the carbs, the options here are plentiful and totally kid-friendly. We've got lean meats like chicken and turkey, of course eggs and milk, and great plant-based options like tofu and hummus. And don't forget low-mercury fish, like salmon and sardines. They're also fantastic sources. Okay, our third and final tool in the trifecta is fiber. Fiber is incredible for gut health and, you guessed it, for feeling full. Now, this table shows you the recommended daily targets based on age. The goal isn't to go crazy and overdo it, because too much can cause some tummy trouble. But it's about consistently hitting these healthy marks day in and day out. And you'll find fiber in all the best places. Vegetables, legumes like peas and chickpeas, and whole fruits. It's really important to include the skin on fruits whenever you can, because that's where a ton of that fibrous goodness is hiding. Oh, and a quick but super important safety note. While nuts are a great high-fiber option, they're generally recommended only for kids over 5 years old. Okay, so we've got our trifecta down. Carbs, protein, and fiber. Awesome. Now let's round out our toolkit with 2 more absolutely crucial components, smart fats and smart hydration. Let's talk about fats because healthy, unsaturated fats are definitely your friend here. They play a really vital role in promoting that feeling of fullness, and they can help regulate weight and blood sugar. So we're thinking about foods like fatty fish, nuts, seeds, and high-quality oils like olive oil. These are the energy sources that really support the body's systems. Now, when it comes to drinks, this comparison is so important. Think about it. When you juice a fruit, you're essentially stripping out almost all of the fiber and leaving behind mostly sugar. But when you blend that same fruit into a smoothie, you keep all of that wonderful, filling fiber. It is such a simple switch, but it makes a huge, huge difference in how full you feel afterwards.
We all know that getting kids to drink plain water can be a tough sell sometimes. I get it. So here are some fantastic alternatives. You can try fruit-infused water, those amazing homemade smoothies we just talked about, low-fat milk, and even things like soups and broths count. Oh, and high-water fruits like watermelon and cucumber are great for hydration too.
Okay, deep breath. We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? We've got our complex carbs, powerful proteins, fantastic fiber, healthy fats, and smart hydration. So the big question is, how do we put this all together into a simple, manageable action plan? It really boils down to these three key strategies. First, focus on whole foods. That means limiting the processed stuff and artificial sugars as much as possible. Second, offer a ton of variety. A diet that looks kind of like a Mediterranean-style diet is a fantastic model to follow. And third, and this one is so important, please consult a registered dietitian. They can create a plan that's perfectly tailored to your child's specific needs. And I really want to leave you with this thought. This whole approach, it's not about tedious, soul-crushing calorie counting. The real goal, the more empowering mindset, is to simply focus on providing nutrient-dense, whole, and well-balanced meals. That is the most positive and, honestly, the most sustainable approach you can take.
So as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this one question. You don't have to change everything overnight. That's not the goal. But looking at all of these tools we've talked about, what's one small, totally manageable change you feel like you can start with today? Seriously, maybe it's just swapping juice for a smoothie one time, or maybe it's adding some beans to a meal this week. That one small step, that's the start of a really powerful journey. Thanks so much for joining me.